Hi, I am your host, EverybodyILoveDies, here with the very first issue of Mental Essays, a series of webisodes I will be producing concerning the essays that I write in my head as I go about my day. Our first webisode is Superheroines and Stilettos, and this mental essay is concerning how I actually think stilettos are a pretty good idea for the superheroine on the go. So, let's begin. First, I'm going to start with the positives, or what I perceive as the positives. Number one, height differentials. Now, I wouldn't consider myself short, although everybody I know would, but on average, I'm about 6 inches taller than I am, because I wear heels all the time. Now, were I to try and punch one of my male friends in the face, which has never happened before, obviously, it's a lot easier for me to reach their nose if I'm in heels. It's just closer to where I can reach, instead of trying to reach to the top shelf of a cupboard, which I can't reach, like it would be if I was in flats. And since superheroines tend to be drawn as more petite, not in all of the areas, but definitely shorter than the Adonis, tall, Greek god sort of figures that we have as our superheroes, it seems to me that it stands to reason that stilettos or pumps or heels or whatever they might be wearing would certainly help them out, increase that height differential. Or rather, decrease it. A couple subpoints to this. Subpoint A. This does make a difference when it comes to fighting. Go take a look at UFC, if you don't watch UFC for some reason unbeknownst to me. They always, next to weight, the very next thing they list is reach and height. Height and reach do make a difference. Now, subpoint B, stilettos or heels or boots aren't going to make a difference in your actual arm reach. But what it will make a difference is propping you up 6 inches so you can actually reach up to where the person is. Subpoint, where am I? C, is that it sort of does increase the reach of your legs. So, say you're a superheroine, kicking around all of your supervillains and whatnot. If you kick with the right part of the shoe, let me use a heel for instance, this part or this part, then you are increasing the length of your kick and the reach of your kick. So, subpoint D is that yes, you actually can throw a proper kick in heels. It takes practice, but my understanding, feel free to yell at me in the comments, is that you have to pivot your foot, your bottom foot that stays on the ground, when you throw a kick. So, you're standing there, you throw a kick, this foot moves, this lifts up, kicks out. You can totally do that in heels. You just gotta be good at wearing heels, ladies. Alright, so that's height differential. Number 2, positives. Concentrated surface area. Let's bring out the example heel again. If I put all of the pressure of my kick into this tiny, tiny little point, that's gonna hurt a hell of a lot. Go back to like high school physics and math if you want a lesson on surface area and why that's going to make a difference, right? Even if I kick with this area, it's going to make a heck of a difference. Now, are there fighting styles that tell you to kick with like the entire flat of your foot? Maybe, in which case, not so good. But if you're kicking with the heel or the ball of your foot, number one, the surface is going to be a lot harder than your actual foot or even an actual boot unless you're wearing steel-toed boots and you're kicking with the toe, right? Trust me, these things, solid as heck. They have to be because all of your weight is in a much smaller surface area than it would be in, say, a sneaker, right? This is just a harder bottom than any of my sneakers are. Number 2, obviously, or subpoint B, wherever I'm at, obviously this is going to make a lot more impact. And speaking of concentrated surface area, I don't want that coming at me with the equivalent force of a flat foot, because that's going to hurt. And in fact, almost definitely penetrate skin and muscle. So, seems to stand to reason that a heel would actually be super beneficial, especially a stiletto heel, when it comes to kicking someone and severely doing injury. Speaking of which, subpoint 3, in the positives, stilettos, or weapon S for stabby, as I put it, stab. They can totally stab. I could stab you with this. It's stabby. I don't think I have to explain that any more than that is explained. So, and, you know, make it into a knife or something, who knows. Be Black Widow and be cool and have knives everywhere. Alright. Things that are not negatives. Now, what do I mean by this? It seems that a lot of people will bring these up as being negatives, and the people who bring these up as negatives obviously just aren't very good at wearing heels. Alright, so number one, running. Okay, let me explain something. There's a lot of different kinds of heels, heeled boots, shoes, pumps, sandals, etc. I personally mostly wear pumps. Pumps are heels without any sort of strappy sandal part on the top. Your foot just goes straight in and that's it. It's held in by the contours of the shoe and by the pressure of your foot down into the toe, right? You can have strappy sandals. You can have strappy heels. Heels have straps on them all the time. Those will hold your foot in. Also, you see a lot of superheroines wearing boots. That's pretty standard fare, in fact. Boots, you can run in these. You can flat out sprint in these. And, as a reminder, not all heels are made equal. They're not all the same size. They're not all the same thickness. You could have a pump with a heel this thick. You can run in this. That's not a problem. Can I run in this? No. Can I jog in this? Absolutely. It just takes practice. These, you can flat out sprint in. There's no problem here. So, where people are saying, well, you know, you can't fight in those, you can't run in those, kicking, I think that your fatalities are going to be increased, personally. Running is not a problem if you're doing them in boots, and especially not boots with a chunky heel, right? Number 3, or 2. I'm awesome at numbers. Number 2, they're uncomfortable, they hurt, bad for you, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let me handle all these. Shoes take breaking in. All shoes take breaking in. Sneakers, flip-flops, sandals, wedges, heels, boots. They all take breaking in. These are what I like to call my walking heels. I wear these pretty much every single day during the summer, some of fall, some of spring. As long as there's not ice on the ground, I'm pretty much going to be wearing these. They're, you know, 4 or 5 inch heels. Not stilettos or anything, but not exactly a thick surface area there. I have no problem wearing these. In fact, I find these more comfortable than walking around in flat feet. Which brings me to my second point, which is that all you have to do to be comfortable in heels, besides breaking in the actual shoe itself, is wear them often. You'll change the way your calf muscle is shaped. A study recently came out on Jezebel, which seemed to pretend to proclaim that heels were bad for your health because they cause the shape of your calf muscle to change over time. Women which wore heels often tended to take shorter, more powerful steps. Which, yeah, that makes sense to me. That's how I walk when I'm in heels. It's kind of how you have to walk. But all they said was that it changed the shape of your calf. You know what else changes the shape of your calf? Exercising, not exercising, anything. You can change your calf muscle all sorts of different ways. It's not necessarily a positive or negative on its own. That article really irritated me because the scientists seem to be drawing this very negative conclusion from data which was entirely neutral. So what if the shape of your calf is different? Like I said, it is more painful for me to walk around in flat feet than it is for me to walk around in heels. And I'm not exaggerating. If like my calf muscles or feet are especially sore in the morning, I'll put on a pair of heels and I will physically feel better. Now, feel free to go in the comments and tell me about how I've ruined my muscles for the rest of my life. But all I'm saying is if you wear them often enough, your muscles will change to accommodate them. And therefore, it won't be a bother to run around in heels and to kick people in heels and to kick butt in heels and everything. It doesn't hurt. Okay. Finally. Negatives. Alright. I will grant you, there are at least 2 negatives I can come up with to wearing heels as a superheroine. Number 1. Grates. You know, grates, like in New York City, grates. If you're a superheroine and you are on the Great Planet versing the Great Villain, G-R-A-T-E, you are doomed. You will never be able to defeat him in heels. Not even, I don't think these chunky heels would be able to really stand up against grates. They are a problem. So, If you do know that you'll be going into battle in the city of greats on the planet of greats against the villain great, do not wear heels. Oh great, super heroines. Number 2, if you're fighting in the middle of nature. Now, boots, again, kind of solve this argument. Because, well, there's motorcycle boots with lifts in them and everything that aren't really heels. And even these boots I'll wear walking around on earth, right? On unpaved earth. That's not a problem. But yeah, pumps, stilettos, sharper pointed boot heels, right? That is definitely a problem if you're walking around in nature, but ugh. Why are you doing battle with a villain who wants to be not in New York City, right? Like, come on. All the best villains attack New York City, so you're fine. Just avoid the greats. And as for other negatives, I can't think of any. I haven't heard any. All of the negatives that people tend to tell me are things which seem to fall under the not actually negatives, like running and them being uncomfortable. So that is my mental essay that I wrote on the superheroine and heels. So, kick-ass superheroines, keep being nice and tall and sexy and looking good. This has been Mental Essays with Everybody I Love Dies. Feel free to leave comments telling me how ugly and stupid I am. Cheers.